Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Wherever you are, wherever you're listening, we welcome you to another episode of the Big Biz Show. We're live inside the Loft 100 studios
here we go.
In sunny Southern California. Yes, you've asked, and we'll answer the question. A lot of people around here say,
no, I didn't hear that. Can I ask you this?
You can ask me
anything.
You
a lot of people around here. Where's round here? Where's round here?
Round here,
round here, man. Just round here, these parts.
Like round here?
Yeah, pretty much round here. Round here.
Oh, boy. I'm going to bring up a couple names for you, and you tell me. We were all up in arms about. I want you to tell me. I want you to try to say, oh, yeah, what happened? I want you to try not to say, oh, yeah, whatever happened to that.
Okay.
P. Diddy.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah, whatever happened to that. Right?
He was found.
No, no.
Sure.
All of the other people that were supposed to go.
Glare.
All the other people that were supposed to go to jail.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Just did.
Okay. Tariffs. Oh, yeah, whatever happened to that? Howie Font here to tell us whatever happened to that. It's just so interesting how we are fish when it comes to media. And it's everything, this and that, and then nothing.
Zero.
I mean.
Nothing burger.
It was like tariffs were a big nothing burger. Can I tell you what happened with tariffs?
Tell us.
Donald Trump, and I told you this, I don't want to sound like Donald Trump and tell you, I told you so. I'm not trying to do that. But the whole time, Howie, you and I were saying, look, this is what he does. He creates a crisis and wags the dog. So do you know what he wanted in the beginning? 12% tariffs, 20%, whatever. What number do we end up with?
Yeah. So
what number do we end up with?
When you net it out and average it by product, it's like on average 15%.
Which is what he wanted in the first place.
Sure.
So when he wants 15 in the first place, he puts it for 150%.
Oh yeah.
And where do we end up? It's. I don't understand why we get so kerfuffled when this.
Well, listen. I mean,
it's a technical term.
It's interesting because there was a big jump earlier in the week because of Nvidia's earnings report, and midday that day, the stock market dropped like a stone. It gave back, I think the number was $150 billion of value in 100 minutes. So for every minute for 100 minutes, $15 billion of value was lost.
Wow.
So I'm not saying you're wrong necessarily, but I think there's a good argument that if we just hadn't played the tariff game at all, instead of the stock market being at 6,700, we could be at 75.
But isn't that an argument that the market runs on fear and greed, and it's an emotional market? I mean, I realize institutions really drive the market, but this is what my point is. Had we not even gone down that road and got ourselves in a what's the word I'm looking for? Kerfuffle.
Yeah.
We just get ourselves so wound up, and the reason I brought in the societal stories was it's sort of indicative of what we do. We're into this thing, the Jeffrey Epstein thing, the Harvey Weinstein thing. I mean, look at horrible things are happening.
Sure.
But then all the other surrounding things around it, like everybody's supposed to go to jail, we're never going to see Hollywood again, and it just all goes away, as it always all goes away. So why can't we start with the thought that this is probably not as bad as we think it is, or maybe what we're seeing, it's one of these hey pink,
Well, someone's paying for it to go away. I mean,
no, but how are they paying for it? I forgot about it. I forgot about tariffs. Nobody's paying for tariffs.
But, I mean, they're different situations, I think is what. Anyway, go ahead.
I guess my point, and bring this back up today is, Sully's right that we haven't heard about it that much. There's the court case and some things that are in the news. But basically, there have been a bunch of quiet little exemptions and tariff reductions and some deals and some smaller backdoor deals cut. And we're kind of like done with the tariff thing. I mean, yes, we still have this 15%. That's mostly, the burden is mostly on China for that. We've agreed to a year-long truce as far as the escalation with the tariffs with China. So finally, the story is going quieter. I mean, we're still fighting Canada a little bit on tariffs, but Mexico, it looks like, is very cordial. There was another 90-day extension. There. Yeah.
Can I tell you one of the best things about my life has been the fact that I got out of talk radio about full-time 6 years ago?
You and I both.
And the reason is because I was in an independent on a very conservative station, Mary and I became very close friends at this time because we both moved each other's needles. Do you remember how far right and how far left, that we seemed when we first, and we kind of met towards the middle?
Yeah.
But what's interesting here is, so I'm just going to call balls and strikes here. On the left here, one of the biggest problems the left had in terms of economic policy was not helping out the food basket of America, the agricultural system, Central California being one of these things. Donald Trump now has exempted tariffs from that very group. Okay, was that a political move? Was it the right thing to do? And how is it going to be? And how, in your opinion, Howie, is it going to be digested from the left or the right?
Yeah, I guess in some sense everything's political, and that has to be a part of all this deal making, and it's country on country. So there's going to be, some things are important to, Guatemala or El Salvador or something, and that's not really that important to the U.S. So that we could make some concessions. But I will say, I'm trying to, whenever we do these tariff segments, I mean, this is economic news primarily. I know there's the political component because of the source of the tariffs, but this is an economic phenomenon, and I think a lot of these rollbacks come because tariffs in a free open market really muddle things up. They make things a lot more complicated and worse, and that can be to one party's advantage.
Well, to your point, exempting agriculture here in the States, yet also carving out deals for El Salvador and Argentina and Guatemala is going to cause some eyebrows to go, right? I mean, look, it makes strong business sense to do that because of the amount of beef we consume here in this country. Which is a whole other political argument in some folks. But can you tell us, I know Mary has a question real quick, but can you tell us real quick, it's really interesting how Switzerland comes into the picture suddenly. And the Swiss are typically known to not take a side here, but boy, there's some open-air indicators maybe we can take a lesson from here, don't you think, with what the Swiss did?
Yeah, the Swiss example is really important for what I was just saying. You don't want to go, the president doesn't want to go below this 15% number because he doesn't want people to be able to trade through different countries and get around the tariffs. So he won't go below that number. But he brought it down from 39 to 15 for Switzerland. And he did that probably because it was souring our relationship with them. And we used them in a lot of different ways. They're our de facto embassy for countries that we don't have relationships with. And it's just kind of considered impolite to do that to your friends. So that's kind of one of the more quiet things that he's done that's probably really necessary and shows that, reality is setting in here.
Hey, Howie, next week when we get together again, I want to talk a little bit about, sort of a shadow economy in terms of a stealth softening, as you put it. Of the tariff, because it all comes down to perception at the end of the day here. And as we have this market that I sort of feel like the market wants to go in a good direction here, but there's also a wait and see what happens with all the noise coming out of Washington. At least it's coming out of Washington, not coming out internationally.
I think it's very apt, yeah.
Thanks,
Does this
buddy.
mean less holes in their cheese, Howie? Come on, man.
You know what causes cheese, Mike? What causes holes in cheese?
What?
Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyentgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
Continuing, everybody, for being along for the ride with us, the Day Trader Trio. They are along for every single ride. And back here at the bar, hello, Costa, Maribor Godwin, and Sully.
Speaking of continuing, how is your Vivos life going?
Beautiful.
You like that?
Beautiful.
I wear my mouthpiece daily.
Yep.
Although I didn't have a huge sleep score on there. I had some other stuff happening.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, posture-wise, one of the things that Kirk Huntsman mentioned at one point, or one of his professionals, and we have to have one of those days again where Kirk comes in with his team.
Yeah.
And does a whole, because it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Was that your airway, and we're talking about obstructive sleep apnea.
Mm-hmm.
Your airway, your body will do anything it can to contort itself to keep that airway clear, including, make yourself. And you saw the pictures of Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh yeah.
You are remarkably less round.
Yes.
Okay. Although you're always in shape because round is a shape.
Technically, it is.
It really is, isn't it?
Nothing wrong with being shaped like a bowling ball.
Right. But you are definitely in better shape.
Yes.
Can I tell you that your lovely wife Meg, who is also in better shape?
Yep.
And look at it. This is post-stroke. Can I say it on the air?
Oh yeah.
She has lost weight. She looks 20 pounds or 20 years younger.
Yeah.
I gotta believe it's because she's getting some sleep.
1,000%.
Kirk Huntsman joins us today. Kirk, you saved another life, pal. You saved another marriage. Kirk, he's also not only the CEO of Vivos Therapeutics, but he now has MFCC, Marriage and Family Counselor.
Yeah, right.
At the end. Lots of good stuff happening with Kirk. I want you to catch us up. I know that that you and I get to talk a lot off air, and the interesting part is I used to get to talk to him every other day, and now he's so busy I only get to talk to him every other week. So I'm going to start hammering you again so I can start seeing you all the time. But but get us caught up, because a couple of great press releases specifically about revenue growth during the third quarter 2025. A lot of stuff that is surrounding your medical device that resolves obstructive sleep apnea. Let's talk about the company a little bit and what's going on.
Yeah, so it's sort of a watershed quarter for us. Last quarter, third quarter of 2025, we announced that we had a 78% sequential quarter-over-quarter revenue growth, which I would say we anticipated. We didn't know how high it was going to go, but we're thrilled with that. We think it's just the beginning of a strong upward trend in revenue that we're experiencing as a result of our. Towards the end of the second quarter, we bought the sleep clinics out there in Nevada, and we have launched our model. We call it our strategic pivot towards medicine and away from dentistry. And boy, what a great move that's turning out to be. So we're very excited about that.
Kirk, real quickly, not to interrupt you, but really a big piece of this was, instead of using dentists who are useful in this in making the appliance work, instead of using them as salespeople, you decided to use sleep study centers as salespeople as part of this, right? You sort of changed a little bit of a paradigm shift there.
So basically, the dentists basically signaled to us that they're, the vast majority of them are just more interested in dental things and not interested in treating sleep apnea. And so be it. So we use dentists now for the technician part of what's needed, but we don't rely upon dentists anymore. We really have our own. The dentists work for us out there in our variety of locations, and as we expand this model and replicate this and scale this up nationwide, there'll be employees in a professional corporation rather than just independently, selling our stuff. But the key thing is that we're getting in front of far more patients with obstructive sleep apnea, and the patients are eating it up. I mean, everything that we thought was going to happen has been happening as far as patient acceptance and all that. So we're excited about that.
Kirk Huntsman is the CEO of Vivos Therapeutics, also a marriage counselor to the stars. VVOS is their ticker symbol. Kirk, is the goal? You mentioned the sleep centers in Nevada. Is the goal eventually all across the United States as far as sleep centers and Vivos is concerned?
Well, I'll tell you what's happening, which is really kind of, again, when the word got out that we had acquired these sleep centers, we started getting inquiries. And I mentioned this on my earnings call yesterday. For anybody who wants to catch up, by the way, go to our website, look at the earnings call. But these cardiology groups started reaching out to us. And I'm talking about from Florida to Chicago to the West Coast and everywhere in between. And they're saying, look, we know that 80-90% of our patients have sleep apnea, but we don't know how to treat it, we don't know how to test for it. We need a partner that can do all that for us. Would you be interested? And I'm like, yeah, I think we might. So it's been this one sleep center group out of actually just they're neighbors of ours out there in Las Vegas. They see 30,000 patients a month.
Oh my God.
My goodness.
And the one that reached out to us in Arizona, 20,000 a month. I mean, they just have they said the group out of Arizona said, look, we just tested our patients. We tested 1,000 patients, and 85 to 90% of them had moderate to severe OSA. And we don't know what to do with it. Yeah. We know that their obstructive sleep apnea is impeding our ability to get wins on the cardiology front because these things are all connected, and it's making their cardiology status worse. But we're not sleep doctors, and we don't know how to treat these people. And so we need a partner who can do that.
And it's also not just cardiology, but we also had a therapist in studio and a spiritual coach. And they were talking about how sleep specialists come to them because sleep impacts mood, anxiety, every part of a human, it's just so important what you're doing. I love it.
Kirk, can we get you guys to come back into San Diego again with your team? I think it's time for a refresh for you guys in the new year, maybe even before Christmas if possible. If not, in the new year, let's get your whole team back in here because I think it's just so interesting to see how things have changed and reintroduce the technology again.
Let's do it.
I love it.
Kirk Huntsman, CEO, Vivos Therapeutics, VVOS. Gave me my marriage back, gave me my life back. Guy's a miracle worker. Keep it right here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show right after this.
He gave you your abs back.
Those two. Big Biz Show continues from the Loft 100 studios. We are in Southern California, wherever you're watching. Wherever you're listening, we always appreciate you being along for the ride. They are always here. The Day Trader Trio back here at the bar as the show rolls on. It is Costa, it is Marybird Godwin in her Wicked sweater, and Sully.
Oh, that's right.
Prepping for Wicked.
Wicked's coming out.
Wicked for good.
Have you been to these places? I remember when I was watching the Phillies play the Mets in London last year.
Yes.
Where I saw a bunch of women dressed up in purple and red going to see ABBA because there was a musical comedy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should never call it musical comedy anymore. It was just musical. It was a musical. Yeah. And how they had it worked out was they had like an open seating in it was like a mosh pit in the beginning, in the front of the stage, and then seating. And the mosh pit is for people to go out there and sing along.
Oh,
this is
sing-along shows. This is up your alley. I dream of this. There's a place called The Room Where It Happens in London where they have a piano bar and they just play musical theater all night long. It's my dream.
But this was actually...
It's all of our dreams.
I'd rather go antiquing.
Me too.
Or model home shopping.
Or watch paint dry.
Really? You love musical theater. Don't act like you don't.
I would not get involved in it. I love certain musical theater. Okay?
Well, Dan, would you be found in a musical theater?
I buy a ticket to go see a professional sing. Not a bunch of people who are mosh pitting. Sorry,
Can you imagine a circle pit in front of...
I would be
Dan Negroni's here. Dan Negroni, speaker, CEO, coach, consultant, chief launch officer. DanNegroni.com. He's also one of my close friends. And you successfully bridged the gap, I believe, or explaining the.
I'm trying day by day
between crusties and millennials, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z,
and inquisitors.
Yes, there you go. It's funny. I have a client in my consulting business who is a Gen Zer, and it's so interesting contractually putting something together of what matters to them versus if you and I were to do an agreement. Yeah. We do an agreement in the name of good business, good faith. The reason the agreement is in place. I mean, we put something in writing in case we either get hit by a truck, but it's there. But you're not asking, well, how many actual seconds are on the clock, and can you specify 60? I mean, it's just interesting how
they want an SOW.
What is an SOW?
A statement of work, a really detailed.
They do. Is this a trust thing coming off of the Great Recession and how they were raised? What do you think this is coming from?
Well, first of all, I think they just love detail.
Okay.
I mean, and they want to protect themselves every way, and they think that the world's going to screw them, and so it's their way of figuring out how to protect against the big bad boomer.
How old are the people that you're describing that want the SOW? I didn't even know what that word meant.
Okay,
so, like my daughter she's in college
before I got
here. 19. She doesn't know what that means.
But I bet she'd want detail though.
She'd want to know. It's the statement of work is just, it's an acronym, but she'd want the detail. She wanted an exhibit to the contract. You could have the general contract, a couple of paragraphs, few paragraphs page, and then what are you going to do? That's always attached to a contract, but they want a lot more.
However, because if I were to hire Dan as consultant for all matters relating to workforce integration of between our new employees and the existing management, I would put down to the best of his abilities based upon our needs in terms of
do your stuff.
Do your thing here. How much is it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And honestly, because I've conducted enough due diligence at the beginning to know that he's the guy I want. I don't need him to say, you'll have a call every Monday at 11:15. And they want that. I find it so interesting.
Yeah, we actually know that from your motivations, that you're an automatic decision maker.
Yeah, right,
and
sure.
So you make a decision, you base it
Whereas
on trust.
I need a spreadsheet and he just wants it.
You may either have evolution, like you need a couple of trust anchors, if you will, or point. But millennials and Gen Zs in general, they've been screwed. I mean, look at their... I think the
economy has listen.
They can't buy a house. I think if you actually do the numbers, they're like 20. I was reading a book called Notes on Being a Man, and Scott Galloway, who's a professor at NYU, has done all the statistical analysis of financially what it's like to be a millennial or Gen Z versus in our generation, and it hasn't gotten better.
Yeah,
it's gotten way worse.
But do you think that I just kind of was in a generation maybe where I just took what the boss told me or what I saw. You're going to do this, and I'm like, okay, perfect. And I'm going to make this. I didn't question it at all. But you were saying inquisiting minds. You know,
inquisitors.
That they are questioning. Like, well, when is my break going to be? I'd be like, okay, whatever.
That's interesting because when I was always trying to figure out how can I be that guy. That was my motive. I was going to be complacent, not docent, but I was going to be or not docile. I would be compliant, not docile.
Right.
But I always wanted to know how that guy did it. That was always my thing.
I think they want to know all that stuff too. They're just, I mean, there's some really great strength to it. Like I bring a great general counsel from the biggest companies, lawyers to every class. They have a guest speaker, pretty much. And so I said, what else do you need? And they all raised their hand. And you know what they said? We need people that are just 2 or 3 or 4 years ahead of us.
So they want a roadmap. They want a roadmap.
And so they said, can you bring in a guest of 26-year-old young people that are figuring out their career? Because you guys are old and you're not relevant the way you did it.
Yeah.
And so it was really fascinating, but that's a great question, right?
I'm not suggesting that we were being nefarious, but when people ask too many questions, you just give more benefits in the past. And it wasn't asking too many questions like
just shut them off.
I didn't want to go into the detail, but hey, how about we give you an extra 3 days vacation? And all of a sudden, okay,
greatest boss in the world.
Okay.
Benefits, perks don't retain talent anymore, do they?
No.
Yeah.
Because it's perks and purpose and where's my career going and how am I going to learn and how am I going to get in your seat and who's going to teach me, and they really
work-life balance
and work-life balance, right? Which I still don't know what that is.
Yeah.
However, it's just figuring it out, right? And
well, I think it's what's funny. Work-life balance before 17 years ago, when we had an iPhone in our hands, meant how much were you going to work, how much are you going to go on vacation, spend time with your family.
Pretty much.
Now, work-life balance means how much can you get, how many usable days can you have while you're balancing work and your lifestyle? Because I really, because all day long, including weekends. Now, I'm not, like I said, I'm vehemently defensive about my weekends. However, I don't want to walk into 57 emails either.
Yeah.
So that's what I call work-life balance these days. Is I'm balancing the ability to live my life, and oh, by the way, I still got to do work.
Yeah, well, you're in a different situation than they are, right? They're they have a lot to learn too, and you pretty much know a lot.
What is
he thinks.
AI is not the enemy. I keep on telling people this because I think that's a misnomer for a lot of people. People think AI is going to be it's a good thing. Correct?
For everyone, look, I've been asked, New Year's coming, what do the workplace want? What do people in the workplace want, workers? And they want connection. They want human connection because more and more it's harder and harder. You got hybrid work, you got remote work, you got all these devices, and you got to figure out how to connect. And we are apart as a nation. And so people want connection. To me, even looking at AI as an answer to that question, AI gets more connection, not less, because it gives you more access to more information to be able to help other people or provide more value. So there's, in its simplicity, the number one thing they want, AI can help. So why are they so scared of it?
And I don't know about you guys, but AI for me, or ChatGPT for me, has replaced Google.
Well, but see, so Jan has changed my life in so many ways, personally and professionally. I'm not kidding when I say this, because we've known each other for 20 some odd years, maybe 30 years now. I don't know how long. But next time you're on the air, one of the things that changed my life significantly was the word perplexity.
Yeah.
And so next time you're on,
I love that.
Well, I want you to explain to people why perplexity and ChatGPT is a 1-2 punch and not necessarily an either or. Dan, thank you so much. Chasing Relevance, 6 steps to understanding, engage, maximize next generation leaders in the workplace. The author is right here, Dan Negroni, one of our favorites. All right, keep it right here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show right after this. It is the Big Biz Show in over 175 countries, all the ships at sea. You can hear us on the American Forces Radio Network. Shout out to our brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces. Shout out to the Day Trader Trio. Bringing their A game every single episode. Can't really say that for me. I can say it for Mary Godwin, and I can say it for Sully. As we roll on here. I want to talk about how important it is when you are a shareholder and you get these things in the mail that talk about voting.
Is it important?
It's important because when you're a shareholder of a company,
don't throw them away.
Your vote. Let me tell you what. When you own shares in a company and they ask you to vote on a certain thing, it's to benefit you. Let me tell you how easy this is, okay? As I'm standing here right now.
Okay,
I'm voting my shares in a certain company.
Okay.
And in this case, it is to approve another share issuance in a board of directors.
Okay.
Bam, bam, voted. Done.
Nice.
Let me tell you one of the reasons that these guys want to talk to me about this is because when you own stock in a company, remember I told you that you can't sell your house before you own it, and you can't sell your car before you own it, but you can sell stock before you own it, and it's called short selling. And it really is a good thing because it allows you to bet against stocks when things are going south. Like, in other words, if gold's going south, I want to be able to make money on gold because the market's rocky. Well, I can bet against it. Of
course.
So I'm basically borrowing 100 shares, selling those 100 shares, and then buying them back a couple days later for less money and getting to keep the difference. Right? That's kind of how that works. The problem with abusive short selling, is when it drives the price of a stock down. And you realize when you sign a margin agreement, in other words, every time you have an account with Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, even Robinhood, you can borrow up to 50% of your position. So if you have $50,000 in there, you can borrow up to $25,000 to buy more stock or do whatever. Well, on that margin agreement that allows you to do that, you're also allowing the broker-dealer to loan your shares out to short. Well, if you're a publicly traded company, like these guys are asking me to tell my broker not to loan my shares out. What does that do for me as a shareholder? It keeps upward pressure on the market. It means that because when you short stock, they're betting it's going to go down. So they really want it to go down, so they're going to do anything they can. So anyway, so just pay attention when you get your proxies. You know what I just said?
Just don't throw the mail away. Vote. Jack Lu is...
I can't wait to talk to you. I want this guy on the air every day.
Okay.
because he's talking about smell-o-vision.
This is
love
awesome.
It's like scratch and sniff stickers.
Well, this is way more.
It's endless. Jack Lu is the head of corporate development for Ainos Incorporated. Their ticker symbol is AIMD, and we invite Jack back to the Big Biz Show. Jack, as always, appreciate the time, knowing the time change between here and you. Always thank you for hopping on with us.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back.
Ainos, really interesting here is teaching machines how to smell. And I got such a kick out of last time.
It's unbelievable.
So last time you were on the air, we had so many people email back about it. I'm just going to make you repeat what you started with last time. Give us an overview when you're sitting in an airport lobby waiting to take the next plane, and somebody's asking you, "Hey, what do you do?" What is the pitch? Because I want you to, because it's an unbelievable pitch.
Yes, we are basically showing you a new future for AI. What we do, we have this device called AI Nose that I'm holding right here. We're teaching AI to smell. We're basically taking this invisible data that nobody can see it, nobody can read it. We turn that into something machine can do it, can read it, and we can make a meaning out of it. It's kind of like we are turning scent into what we call smell ID. You can think of our smell ID like a face ID on your iPhone, but for scent, right? The big opportunity is if you look at all the robots, all the AI, they've done a wonderful job talking, they've done a wonderful job speaking, hearing, but really nobody can smell. And that's what we are here to do, to fill the gap. We are very unique because we've been doing this for about 13 years. For basically 12 years of that history, we've been doing it for healthcare, developing this product to test people's health based on the breath or various parts of their body samples, scent. And now we pivoted this technology into industrial use case, into everyday life. So this product right here I'm showing here,
right.
This is the product right now we are partnering and selling into semiconductor factories, robots, automation, etc., etc. So this one is going to be the big baby for the next year.
Jack, pretend like I didn't wear a helmet in college when I played football. Are you basically a steaming hot piece of pizza? Give me is it a written program that you're using AI, or you're plugging into that device?
That's a great question.
This is what a piece of pizza smells like.
How do they read the music? That'd be like explaining this is the color
great way to put it.
This is the color green.
Yeah.
All right, so under the hood, right?
Yeah.
We have a BT for scent, right? When we take the signals, the scent signals with the sensors right here, reads the scent signals. Within this box, there's about 13 sensors, right? So they're all gonna generate some kind of digital signals, and we can map that into a fingerprint for this particular scent.
Okay.
And we do this mapping through our proprietary AI called the smell language model. The really easy way to remember that is it works kind of like ChatGPT for scent. We are trying to give scent a meaning and give them the perception to understand the scent.
Wow.
Amazing. If you think in terms of use, I can think of a lot of safety reasons why military applications and such.
Sure.
But the one thing I want you to explain is you have something called a smell language model that gives you a proprietary advantage. Can you explain what that is for the language model? Is that the actual under the hood coding that goes in? Is that, and that's something that you could white label later and maybe use as a technology for other companies?
Yeah. This is the AI model that we've been developing for about 13 years. We initially use it for healthcare. So when we take the scent signal from, say, a ventilated patient's breath in the ICU settings, we can turn that scent signals, analyze a company. Imagine that we're trying to analyze virus out of this complex breath airs you're breathing with. We're able to extract the signals and then identify, okay, if this guy has a pneumonia or not, and next stage, what kind of virus is causing that pneumonia. In women's health settings, we'll be able to test that what virus is causing the infections. In senior care settings, we can identify bowel movement. That means that if the senior people have wet the bed or not, and then when you can change the diapers. We're able to do that because our solution is very, very sensitive. We are testing things at what we call particle per billion, ppb level, parts per billion levels, meaning that the traces of scent is so tiny, you can't smell it, but the machine can smell it. So we're able to identify these tiny traces of scent and basically make a meaning out of it.
And on that subject, and next time you're on the air, I need to keep you for 3 segments because think about this: the minute they have a toothbrush that can do this, you're talking about so many factors in terms of heart disease that can be diagnosed through ketones, someone's breath, what's going on with gum disease, and it's such a leading indicator for. I mean, you guys are at the tip of the spear, man. I can't tell you how impressive this stuff is.
Jack Lu, head of corporate development for Ainos Incorporated. Pay attention to this ticker symbol, AIMD. Look for him to be on the Big Biz Show a lot more. All right, a lot more coming your way as well. Do not go anywhere. We're back after this. It is the Big Biz Show. As always, we appreciate you tuning in and being along for this crazy ride. Day Trader Trio right there. We get to listen to them every single episode. Yeah, we're that lucky. Back here at the bar, it is Costa, it is Mary Beth Godwin, and it's Sully.
Well, my good friend Shep Hyken is in studio at his own home studio, surrounded by guitars, microphones, and accolades for his speaking career, and of course his customer service and customer experience business. He is the Chief Amazement Officer, of course, for Shep Hyken and Hyken.com. I can tell you, he is in the National Speakers Hall of Fame.
Get out of here!
No, it's good. When I first got into keynote speaking. One of the first guys I met and hit it off, and he's just one of those guys that has been a mentor, and so great to have him again. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. I got to get you back in San Diego at some point, pal.
Man, we keep talking about it. I'm waiting for the invite.
I think we'll just do Big Biz Show to go to your house. We'll just go to your place. We'll just do the whole dang thing there. We'll bring the band in and we'll shoot it there. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to see you. You're looking good. You make me sound. He's a Hall of Fame. Like I'm an old guy.
Well, no, you're just a Hall of Famer.
Hey, you know the cool thing about my Hall of Fame that I'm in is you don't have to retire to get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that is
you
exactly
just need
right.
to be amazing or go home.
You know what?
I was to say I'll be back.
I've been doing this deep dive for like a year into biohacking and longevity, and listening to podcasts like Andrew Huberman and bugging my buddy Peter Attia, who was a Challenge Athletes Foundation friend far too much because he's way more famous now than he used to be. But they all say. When you're about to embark on a exercise program or strength training program, that there's nothing like the first time you do a set of something, the first 2 months of a weight loss program, and they refer to it as first time energy. And I find it interesting that you have taught for many years about customers deserving first time energy every time.
Right.
Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, so I mean, imagine, and this is where I started thinking about it. If you go to Disney right up the street from where you are, and what do you think the number one question that a guest at a Disney theme park will ask an employee known as a cast member?
I have no idea.
It is,
where's Mickey?
Where's the bathroom?
Where's the
Where's the bathroom? Okay. And it's
Donde
like
está el casa de Pepe? I asked that question, and that's the first thing I asked. At a certain age, you just need to know.
Absolutely.
Right? I didn't ask that question 30 years ago, but.
Well, you're in California after all. So anyway, you can imagine somebody gets asked the question like 80 times a day, and maybe by the 79th time they might say, "You want to know where the bathroom is? Right underneath the men's sign right over there." It's like you're frustrated. So how do you do this with first time energy? And the best people are like athletes. They get on the field to give it their best every game. Well, the moment a guest comes up to you or a customer asks you that same type of question, boom. I was working with, I had a minor medical issue, and I'm talking to my doctor, and the doctor is explaining to me in great detail. And I go, how many of these have you done? He said 3,000 of them. I go, man, you are doing it like talking to me like it's your first time you've ever talked to a patient, not out of like ignorance, but out of energy and passion for taking care of the patient. And he just found that to be just a huge compliment. But that's what the best people do.
You know, Shep, you're bringing up Disneyland. They also have the best way that they train their cast members to say princess or prince or whatever they say to the little boys. Even to me, I mean, I think they called me princess at one point, and I was like, thanks.
I called the woman princess the other day. She slapped me.
But I mean,
but it's because it kills it. Yeah. It kills it for kids the minute you break character there, because there's this fine line of reality, and is it really? Oh my gosh, they really are here.
And the other thing that was, my daughter wore the birthday button. She's 19, but she wore it anyway, and everyone said, "Happy birthday, Lily." The way she lit up, and I just think they do it right in so many ways, and it is the treating it like it's the first time, and also keeping the magic alive in every way.
Remember Nordstrom? Used to be the customer service that got people to go to Nordstrom.
Yep.
Right? And as oftentimes happens, family businesses get sold. And the minute that happens, whether it's a radio station,
what happened to them?
Yes, yeah, it's a radio station or another great place. The Chart House went public. Okay, Rubio's restaurant. I mean, it's what's interesting is scale. Shep tends to kill that customer service experience sometimes, and Disney has not done that, which I think is interesting.
And they're a publicly held company, and what happens is they have managed to prove to the shareholders, from the standpoint of board of directors or people like that one of the difference makers is the experience. Because if you don't get it, they're not going to spend a very large amount of money compared to other theme parks. People save up, I can't remember what the stat is, but like 4 years to take a Disney vacation.
Sure.
So expensive.
Almost as much to go to a Dodger game. So
at least this year, for sure.
Shep,
what a game that was!
I'll tell you.
Oh my gosh.
One of the greatest series. Shep, when Mary just mentioned, Disney has a certain way, and they probably broke the mold, but they stick to their guns and how they train people to treat their guests. How come you don't see a lot more businesses trying to emulate that? And there's one that comes close, and it's In-N-Out Burger. I have never.
Oh, they're great.
Well, and I would argue that a place I've never eaten at. I hear that Chick-fil-A has the same.
Chick-fil-A is the same. You're exactly right. Yep. Those two places are like, you know what? Disney's of fast food. Not a lot more though.
Trader Joe's of grocery stores, I would say.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, so they're all the same genre. It really starts in the hiring, and specifically at Disney. When you go to hire somebody at Disney, you have to go through a culture immersion before you even get to the interview. You walk into what they call the central casting or whatever the building is. I'll use Disney World as an example. And it's where you go to fill out your application, watch a video, learn a little bit about the culture. But when you go to open the door, it's like the door is the doorknob from, I don't know, Snow White's palace or something. Yep. Or, I'm not getting that right, but it's you are in the culture before you even get invited to be in the culture. And there's no doubt that Disney is not for everybody. I learned that they're not the highest paid people. So I talked to some of the Disney cast members and said, the rumor is you're not paid as well as others. They go, yeah, but this is Disney, man. This is where I've wanted to work my whole life. Sure. And they treat me so well, and I love it. And that's why they do it. It's the culture is a cult.
Shep, we only have about 30 seconds left here, but real quickly, what's the takeaway for small business to kind of emulate this? Because that's really what this is about, is trying to teach entrepreneurs to kind of to take these principles and put them in their own instances.
Great. Now 20 seconds, I'll simply tell you, every interaction is an opportunity for your customer, guest, client, patient, whatever you call them, to form an impression. Manage it well, manage it for first-time energy, and to create the experience that gets people to say, in the words of the Austrian philosopher Arnold Schwarzenegger, get them to say, I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Wow. Be amazing or go home. 7 customer service habits that create confidence with everyone. Author, keynote speaker, chief amazement officer, Shep Hyken. Always love the visit. We always love being with you, but unfortunately, we can't do it any longer because the show's over. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you next time very soon.